Hello, everyone. Welcome to the next session in our strategy and planning series. My name is Andrew Gaffney. I'm publisher of Demand Gen Report. I want to thank you for joining us. In this next session, we're going to be looking at a roadmap for real-time marketing for 2015. We hear across both of our publications, our Demand Gen Report readers, as well as our Retail TouchPoints audience, that there's a real need and a struggle to try to connect, be relevant with their customers and prospects across different devices, across different channels. So personalization is obviously still a goal, being relevant, and the opportunity to do that and the struggle to do that is getting more complex given all of the different ways that consumers and prospects are connecting. So really keeping up with the speed, the growing speed of clients, and being able to do that again across devices. We talk a lot about omni-channel and multi-channel. But today we're going to share with you some insights and some really specific roadmaps on how you can start to apply this for real-time marketing in 2015. So before we get started, I want to share with you some housekeeping items. We are using the On24 platform today. We'd like to encourage you to submit questions, and you can do that right in the On24 platform. Just click on the Q&A tab and go ahead and type in any questions you have. Our presentation is going to be about 30 minutes, and then at the conclusion of that, we'll try to address as many of your questions as we can get to. If we don't have time to get to your question, we'll ask our speaker to follow up with you directly. Frequently asked questions that we get, this session is being recorded, so you'll have an opportunity to go back and review it after or share it with your peers. We're also going to try to make this as social a conversation as possible, so we encourage you to go ahead and tweet out or post on LinkedIn any relevant comments or interesting points that you hear through the presentation. If you want to share any questions on there, we'll be keeping an eye on that too. I encourage you to use the hashtag for the series, which is SPS 2014. This series, again, is being brought to you by our Demand Gen Report publication. If you're not already a subscriber to Demand Gen Report, we encourage you to take advantage of that. We cover best practices in lead generation, lead nurturing, and digital media strategies. We've got over 28,000 readers, and it's a complimentary subscription to our weekly newsletter, and you'll also access proprietary research best practices that we publish on a regular basis. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our address is DG_report, and encourage also maybe to check out our group on LinkedIn, which is Demand Gen Specialists. So we've got a great speaker today. Again, we hear a lot about this being an aspirational goal for people. Real-time marketing sounds like something that's difficult to achieve, but we're going to present some really great roadmaps. We had an opportunity to meet Chris Baribo from QuickPivot, and QuickPivot has actually worked with both B2C and B2B clients to implement this roadmap and to achieve goals of being omni-channel and connecting with retailers and keeping up with the speed of customers. Chris brings a passion and a vision for how clients can combine insight, channels, and content to create unique customer experiences. In leading QuickPivot client services team, he uniquely translates the vision into lifecycle marketing services specific to a client and its industry. Chris is committed to helping clients realize the benefits of QuickPivot marketing quickly and effectively, which you'll hear today in the presentation, and lending his expertise in analytics, marketing technology, and business process improvement. Prior to joining QuickPivot, Chris was a marketing and customer intelligence consultant at IBM. And Chris, thank you for joining us. Look forward to your presentation.
Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate it. And thank you all for attending. Very excited to be here talking about such an important topic today. As you can see from some of these statistics that you're about to see, marketers that really start using omni-channel marketing really see some dramatic results. As you can see here, 66% of marketers found that omni-channel has improved loyalty, and 40% have talked about increased engagement. Both of these metrics lead to increased sales and revenue, which is a very important topic. So what is real-time omni-channel marketing, and how do you do it? In today's session, we're going to answer some of these questions. We're going to start by talking through some B2B examples, then move on to B2C examples, and then finally I'm going to show you a roadmap to talk about how you can start building some of these omni-channel experiences in as little as 45 days. Let's look at some examples of how B2C companies can use real-time omni-channel marketing techniques to build better customer experiences. Look at these statistics right here. 91% of consumers feel that an in-the-moment offer influences their purchase, and 54% really expect a seamless omni-channel experience. B2C companies have to start incorporating these techniques if they want to stay competitive. I'm going to show you several examples of what B2C companies should be doing to take advantage of these customer trends. Let's start with Omnichannel. In many cases, Omnichannel has evolved into simultaneous channel interaction. Look at these statistics and see the percentage of customers that are using multiple channels, both web, mobile, phone, and store at the same time. That's a dramatic increase from a few years ago, and that really tells us that customers, their behavior is changing, and they're really starting to use multiple channels as the normal when they're making buying decisions. This has a huge impact on brands. However, most brands are not able to meet these consumer needs and synchronize information and messaging across channels. Being able to do this is now table stakes, which brings its own set of challenges with all the data and technology that has to be integrated. But more importantly, it represents a new opportunity to provide seamless customer experiences and delight customers. Now let's talk about real-time. Brands are still not able to effectively capitalize on real-time. How many of you have received an abandoned shopping cart message after you've already bought something from a competitive product? Less than one-third of brands have real-time recommendation engines, and you can read these statistics. This really shows us that companies really aren't embracing real-time. And from our perspective, real-time e-commerce really represents a differentiating business opportunity. And if you think back to one of the previous statistics, 91% of consumers react positively to in-the-moment offers. More brands need to start doing this if they're going to win over consumers and grow their revenue. Let's look at how many B2C companies structure their marketing programs today. Most retail programs and B2C programs go to very large lists and segments, and they're very email-focused. Contacts are over-communicated to. Personalization is limited to static, unfresh data. Personalization is sometimes just putting different creative images based on demographic data. It's very difficult to change channels, treatment, timing, etc. based on different behaviors. And next best product recommendations are often based on unfresh data. Channels are uncoordinated, and there's really no real-time component in this process. Now let's look at the way that the marketers should be thinking about this. B2C companies need to employ a customer experience management process in place. With this process, offers are able to be adjusted in real time. The messages, the offers, the channels can be targeted to provide a more relevant experience. A lot of offers and messages can be trigger-based. Contacts could move to different campaigns. Contacts could be taken out of campaigns that are no longer relevant based on recent behavior. Product and offer recommendations can be in real time. And really, behavior across all channels will be incorporated to drive the next best message and action. Let's look at some real examples of how we can incorporate these techniques. First, website personalization is critical and almost expected, but as we discussed, some companies are still not doing this properly. Minimally, customers have to personalize the web behavior, the web offers based on past behavior. If customers are anonymous, we have to be retargeting based on what we've learned about them in their recent visits. If they're a high-value customer, we have to look them up, identify them as high value, give them specific offers or discounts, and recommend next best offers based on what we know about these customers. We talked about this one earlier, but how many of you have gotten an abandoned shopping cart offer, again, after you've already bought something? Brands have to find ways to get offers to these people before they buy something from somebody else. Even if it's just as simple as sending a real-time email or retargeting them on a different channel with the same item that they left in their abandoned shopping cart. This is critical, and it really adds to the customer experience, and it certainly requires data integration across channels. Location-based offers really represent one of the biggest areas for innovation. If you know a customer is in the vicinity of your store or your location, wouldn't it be great to be able to send them a mobile offer or mobile message? Other examples are really taking advantage of social listening information, combining it with location, looking for keywords such as shopping or need a new phone or any other keywords that indicate someone's ready to buy something. You know they're near a store. You can look up their past behavior and present them with targeted offers. We're starting to see more and more companies start to take advantage of location-based marketing but it's still in its infancy. Listening and reacting in real time is also critical. One of the things you can do is look for positive and negative sentiment. A great example, a great case study that we've worked with is an airline. So a customer, this has probably all happened to you. You're waiting in line to board your airplane, and you find out that the flight's delayed or your flight's canceled due to mechanical issues. So what do? You get on your mobile phone and you send out a tweet talking about how unhappy you are with the brand. So wouldn't it be great if the airline could identify you as a high-value customer, pick up the tweet indicating that you're very unhappy, and instead of just filing it in a database, actually send you a real-time offer to your mobile phone for an upgrade on your rescheduled flight, or a complimentary drink, or something else on your next flight. And that's really a way, while the customer is really frustrated, to understand they're in the moment, they're really frustrated, and find a way to turn that into a very positive situation. An extension of social listening is really to identify and capitalize on moments of interest and need. So again, customers that are tweeting or sharing or liking information about a specific product, if we can detect patterns of increasing engagement, more frequent paid views, lots of different cross-channel discussions about a specific product or item, looking up for keywords such as shopping or need a new item, or going to a wedding and I need a new outfit. These are examples when customers are ready to buy something. And if you can harness this information, collect it, and then act on it, you have a much higher chance of collecting and getting that consumer's attention when they're ready to buy. Integrating channels to present the next best offer is also an important concept. You've got to be able to use all the information you know to present real-time next best offers at the point of sale, call center, or web. And if you remember our simultaneous channel statistics that we showed earlier, presenting offers should be synchronized across channels so that if a customer is on the phone talking to the call center and they're browsing your website, the information that the call center agent presents synchronizes with the offer that he or she sees on their website or their mobile device. A lot of times this is a wasted opportunity right now for a lot of brands because it's a great opportunity for cross-sell, upsell. So while you have the customer in the store or on the phone, if you don't have your channels integrated and can't present them with their next best product, or you can't effectively cross-sell, upsell them, it's really a blown opportunity that more companies need to take advantage of. And finally, let's talk about loyalty programs. This is, again, another untapped opportunity that we're starting to see more and more companies try to take advantage of. Programs really should be omni-channel and move beyond direct mail and email and start to include web, point of sale, mobile, and social. How often do you come to a website for a company that you belong to their loyalty program and they can't even recognize you as a loyalty member, especially if you're a high-value member? So some of the things that we're seeing companies do are, listening for positive tweets or positive mentions about your brand and depositing points in their loyalty account because of it. Other examples are while they're in the store, send them an offer to their phone that says if you spend an extra $15, you'll move up to your next loyalty tier and you'll get a free offer or a free discount. Another good example like that, we know a company, it's a restaurant franchisee, and they've set up this loyalty program in their store. So as you're in the restaurant, as you pay, you get offers sent to your mobile phone to stay and have another appetizer or have another drink while you're in the restaurant. And that really is starting to drive cross-sell and upsell. So here's a more detailed example that highlights some of the concept that we've just discussed. It's been dramatized for effect and hopefully entertainment, and it's about what we're calling a happy shopper. So in this example, Christina meets some friends after work for happy hour. She tweets about going shopping later. Talk about an in-the-moment opportunity. What brand wouldn't love to capitalize on Christina's attention and get her in the store while she was having drinks with her friends and feeling happy? Here is what happens. So after she sends a tweet, the QuickPivot software detects the tweet. We identify where she is based on her mobile phone location, and we look up her behavior history and identify that she's a high-value customer and that she has a propensity to buy a specific product. So she gets a limited time offer. How lucky is Christina? She's had a few drinks, she's feeling happy, and she's wanted to go shopping, and all of a sudden she gets an offer from a store nearby for an item that she was just browsing earlier in the day. Well, guess what? the brand is pretty lucky too. Christine is deciding to go there right away and buy that item. This was a humorous and hopefully memorable example, but you can extrapolate how this scenario can translate into many other situations that you need to take advantage of to provide a differentiated customer experience. Now I'm going to talk to you how you can implement and begin experiencing these real-time omnichannel marketing experiences in as little as 45 days. Let's start with some of the challenges. Why aren't more companies doing this? First off, there are big data integration challenges. We haven't yet mentioned big data, but all of these scenarios really require harnessing and using big data, which is very challenging and intimidating, and it requires a lot of technical complexity. Assuming that companies can get over this challenge, the next big issue is how do you develop an integrated channel strategy? A lot of companies struggle just coordinating their email and their web, but now you integrate social, mobile, and other channels. It really becomes a challenge for marketers. So here's our solution. At QuickPivot, we have several principles that we've really driven our solution based upon, and I'm going to show you what that solution is. So first off, big data doesn't have to be big. I'm going to say that again. Big data doesn't have to be big. And what that means to us is you don't need to store it. And if you're not storing the big data, that eliminates the biggest challenge of storing and integrating and managing the large volume of transaction and multi-channel data that's coming in. Secondly, we want you to keep all your existing technology if you want it. You don't have to go through costly and time-consuming RFPs, lengthy conversions, and implementations. You can use all your existing technology. And third, we've developed some pre-built customer journey templates to help accelerate results. So how do we do it? First, we created the QuickPivot Customer Engagement Hub that enables real-time omnichannel interactions like we just described. Here's how it works. It's cloud-based. It has pre-built connectors to any system, which allows for rapid implementation. And in this Customer Engagement Hub, we're not storing the data. We're just listening and reacting to data. So in the example I gave about the airline, the customers in our database, we detected and we listened for that customer's tweet. That immediately triggers an event. We go look up the customer, find out he's a high-value customer, and then immediately push a message to his mobile device with the new offer. All that's orchestrated without storing any data. And this Customer Engagement Hub really connects and stores and manages all the business rules to set up these customer journeys that we've talked about. This is really a new paradigm for managing customer experiences. Second, we've created a library of customer journey templates to accelerate results. These templates represent common scenarios that marketers want to execute upon. They can be configured based on the needs of the customer rather than designed and built from scratch. These templates have really been designed to help get you started quickly. And finally, here's the roadmap for how to get it done. So this is what a typical project would look like. And as you can see, this can be up and running in as little as 45 days. So initially, we start with a planning session. So this is where you'll pick the QuickPivot customer journey template that's most appropriate for you. We'll help you analyze your data and your current systems. And most importantly, we'll define some metrics and KPIs to help measure how effective these programs are. After that happens, we're going to start the connection phase and start establishing connectivity between your systems and the QuickPivot Customer Engagement Hub. And as we discussed earlier, there's out-of-the-box connectors. It makes it very simple. We're not storing data. We're just connecting and plugging in to most systems, and we're mapping the relevant data elements. And while that's happening, we begin designing the program. So any changes we need to make to the customer journey templates based on your specific business, we're going to design those out. And in parallel, we'll help you design your campaigns and offers and messaging to go into the template. And once both of those happens, we begin configuring and modifying the QuickPivot templates to meet your needs. We test them, and at the 45-day mark, you're ready to start experiencing some of these real-time customer experience programs. I want to thank you very much for attending, and I'm going to turn it back over to Andrew for any question and answers.
Thanks, Chris. Those were outstanding examples, and I think it's really interesting for everybody to see a roadmap because, again, I think this has seemed like a, sort of an aspirational goal for marketers, but it's good to see how it can come together in a relatively short period of time. So we've already got some good questions coming in. I want to encourage the audience to go ahead and submit any others. You can type it right in. We do have a few people asking if the slide deck would be available, and it will be, so I want to remind you about that. Chris, we had a question about integration. Greg had asked if you could go into a little bit more detail about how this would integrate with what he's currently doing with his marketing automation system.
Sure. So assuming your marketing automation system is a cloud-based system, which most of them are, this QuickPivot Customer Engagement Hub has pre-built APIs and cloud connectors. And the typical use case we see, one of the examples we described, so integrating, social listening data. So if we detect somebody in your database as having a relevant social interaction, we're going to poll that customer, we're going to pull in that information, and based on what the rules say, that could fire a specific message. And what we'll do is rather than send the message out of our engagement hub, we'll send a flag or a trigger to your marketing automation system, and that automation system will be used to send out the email. That way you get to keep your existing technology, and you get to manage the touches and the response history in your automation system. So really what this hub is doing is connecting all the different channels together, and when a message needs to be sent, we're really figuring out the trigger and sending it to your automation system to execute.
Okay, interesting. We had a question from Maria asking about to sell this into her bosses, what kind of what benefits should she expect? What kind of metrics? Where is she going to see the greatest improvement?
Well, I think if I'm just going to flip back to the one of the earlier slides I talked about, if we think about some of the metrics that matter, so being able to capitalize on more in-the-moment offers, that's going to drive to increased revenue, increasing engagement across multiple channels. That's certainly one of the metrics we're starting to see more and more companies measure as cross-channel or multi-channel engagement. All of those really lead to an improved customer experience, and really the way to sell this is that it's easy to implement, up to less than 45 days. Talk about some of these use cases, and like I said, we set up and measure some KPIs, and a lot of those will be revenue-based. So we've got some really good examples and case studies of how customers have really paid for this project in as little as 2 weeks after implementing it based on the incremental revenue that's been realized by building these customer experiences.
Okay, great. We had a question from Danielle. She said one of the things that they've been struggling in trying to do omnichannel marketing is just having the right kind of trigger messaging, and asked if that's something that you guys provide or how you recommend that they do a better job with the messaging in addition to the tools.
Yeah, that's really part of what we call the customer journey template. So, for whatever the relevant scenario is, we'll recommend what some of these triggers are. So whether they're changes in engagement frequency, whether there are specific events that we're listening for, we have a lot of those predefined, and obviously the messaging needs to be customized based on the specific client or brand, but we have a lot of templates that will really help get you started so that we're just tweaking copy rather than designing and coming up with a whole flow on a case-by-case basis. That's really one of the reasons we've developed these templates, is to help get clients up and running much quicker.
Okay, great. We have a question from Sue asking about the real-time aspect of marketing. She asked, is it a concern to be responding too quickly to customers? I mean, are they going to be put off that you sort of know where they are, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So there's a lot of discussion about that, and obviously there are certainly ways to do that incorrectly. We use the term, we want to be serendipitous, not creepy. And I know there's a lot of Halloween promotions going around about not being too creepy with your marketing. But really the trick to do that right is to make sure that the information that you're using and acting upon is information that the consumer really expects you to take advantage of. And, every 3 to 6 months, the type of information that consumers expect you to listen and take advantage of is increasing as these digital channels proliferate. But the advice and recommendations is if someone's behaving and doing things on your website, or they're opening emails, or they're sharing things on their social network that are open up to the public, that information is really expected to be used by customers, as you can see from some of those statistics. And if you're not using that information to present relevant offers, I think you're doing a disservice, where brands kind of get into trouble and do things wrong, or where they use some of their personal information, or they use information and behavior that's not really considered by the customer as public domain. And again, the amount of that information is really shrinking over time as customers become more and more just dependent and expecting brands to use all the information they give to make their customer experiences better.
Okay, great points. All right, we're going to take one more question. Patty, it sounds like Patty's in the retail business. She asked any examples you can give or thoughts around how this kind of marketing can influence in-store, the driving traffic or driving conversions in-store.
Yeah, that's a great example. I touched upon this a little bit, but first is location-based. So if you know your customer prospect is in the vicinity of your store, and you can look them up and they're talking or they're engaging about going shopping, you want to catch them when they're in the moment. But once you get them in the store, some of the emerging things that are happening, to put this example out, and then I'll give a more practical one. There's ways to actually identify, which part of the store the customer is in based on the beacons from their mobile devices. If you can pick that up and they're near the sporting goods section, or they're near the clothing section, you could potentially send offers to their phone. That's an emerging trend. I think it's going to take a little while before that really catches on. But more practically, think about the loyalty program example. So while somebody's in the store, they're in your store, you could send them an offer to their phone just based on their loyalty status, or you could send them cross-sell, upsell messages, next best product, while they're actually in the store. And that really combines the location-based plus all the other information you know about that customer, and being able to act upon that in real time is something that we're starting to see some companies do, but it's really an emerging way for companies to differentiate. And you can even extend that to the point of sale. So while you're at the cash register buying something, based on the items that have been put into the register so far, that can create a lookup, and the system can automatically recommend next best products based on purchase history, based on what's in the cart, and based on anything that you've done or said online. So I think to summary, it's a really big opportunity for retail companies to start taking advantage of real-time in-store behavior, and we've seen some success with companies that have done it.
Okay, great. And you mentioned in one of the earlier slides, part of the integration for you guys is with the POS and the Commerce Hub.
That's correct. Yep, that's just to us.
Yeah.
It's just another channel. It's a channel we connect to. We can receive information from the POS. So as customers are ringing in their orders, we can put those transactions in and recommend next best products, and then we can push information right back to the POS so that the teller or the agent will have something to recommend to the customer while he's standing there in the store.
Okay. All right, this has been great. We really appreciate you laying out such specific models and examples, Chris. Really appreciate it. I want to remind our audience again, we had a bunch of questions coming in about if the slides were available. I think they will be shared, and also this session has been recorded, so you'll receive a link where you can go back and listen to it or share it with your team. Also, I wanted to point out that in the resources section of your On24 platform, there's several related resources, including the roadmap example and some others that QuickPivot has shared. So I encourage you to go access those, download those for further reference and research. Chris, thanks again. This has been really solid content. And I want to remind our audience that our next session in the series will be this afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be looking at ways you can enhance your webinar promotions going into 2015, and we'll be hearing from Mark Bornstein with On24. So look forward to seeing you at that, and thanks again to Chris, and everybody have a great day.